Hello everybody, my name is Bo Dumitrescu and today we're interviewing Lucas Derks. Lucas has been one of the prime developers of NLP from the Netherlands. He has trained many people for over 30 years and he's the developer of the social panorama. And he's also an author of many books that were best-selling in Holland. So Lucas, thank you so much for doing this interview with us.
Yeah, well, you're welcome, Bo. I am, honored.
Well, thank you for that. Yeah. And you know, you are a big name in Holland in NLP. Yeah. And I just want to go back to your psychology study. That during your study you heard about this technology called NLP, and not long after you were already doing your practitioner training. What moved you to go into something that was and still is quite radical in the eyes of the psychology world, which we know is NLP? What moved you to
Well, it's a very nice question to give an answer to. You know that I was a visual artist, and then I switched over to psychology when I was 27, so I was a late student. And I was doing that because of my fascination with psychology, and especially social psychology. So I was really passionate about understanding the mind. And so I gave up my career. That was not that bad. And then in my second year of my studies, I had just on a list of books that was given by the faculty of, let's say, basic psychology, so functioneer, that's what we call it. I don't know what, but experimental psychology, you could say. The structure of magic. I still don't know who put that on that list. I know only that Piet Vroon was the professor at the time of this part of psychology in Utrecht. Yeah. And so under his authority it came on this list. And I remember that I had this book to read and to study, and I went over to a very nice girlfriend of mine to study together. She was also studying psychology in the same, and she had faculty, and so we decided today we start to study our books. She had another book than I had, and then I was immediately in love with the book. But it was very interesting that it's, and so the structure of magic starts with wow or now. I don't know anymore, but then I recognize, okay, this is what psychology is looking for, because it's practical, it's pragmatic, it has an eye for subjective experience, and it's structured, so it in a way different from anything else I had learned at that time. So I was fascinated by this, and I was immediately looking forward to the next book of Ben and Grinder, because they promised there would be part 2. Yeah. So this is how it started. At that time I saw it in a bigger frame of hypnotherapy and imagination therapy. And I was also very interested in creativity, so that fitted in with thoughts about creativity. Yeah. But that's how it started. And then when I had finished my studies, so I did social psychology, and I specialized in experimental social psychology, and I experimented in the field in museums. So that was in fact how I finished my studies. So I was, you could say in a way, museum psychologist or so. Yeah. And I've been working like that for 3 or 4 years, and then I felt, okay, I need to switch. That was in '86. So I read the book in 1977, The Structure of Magic, and in 1986, when I was working as a museum psychologist, and this was really running very fine, but then I decided, I will only do NLP now, from now on. And so that was my moment of conversion.
Yeah.
of
And well, you did the trainings and you've gone deeper into NLP. And what was it after you got all this information that got you hooked and that you made a big decision to devote a big portion of your life to NLP? You know, this tipping point that you thought, now I'm going to devote my life to NLP. What was that?
Well, I best what I can use is the word psychological reality. And so what's really going on inside of people? And so a lot of psychology is not studying psychological reality, but it's trying to find out the relationship between factors or measuring instruments and validating them. But what's really going on in people was much better described in NLP than everywhere else. So I thought this is, in a way, I saw it from the beginning on. I saw NLP, the practice of NLP, as a sort of experimental practice that taught me more of the psychological reality, more about the facts about how people function. And I knew that this was difficult to connect to academic psychology, but in fact, I finished my studies with a proposal to do research on eye movements and on collapsing anchors, because at that time I thought these are the most clear researchable things that NLP has produced among all the other stuff, but this is something that you can probably start off with. And I found it also very urgent, so I know that I still have this article. It's pressing to start off now, because before you know, others will have done research on this. So it's and then it went totally different.
In a good way.
No.
No.
No. I think that I still believe that this description of that a lot of what is described in NLP and what we practice is keeping, to me, its promise that it stays very close to the psychological reality. So I still think this is the best psychology available in a way. But where I saw a clear way how we could use that to create a better psychology, that was a total disaster. So especially after, I think, '86, when when in the United States the Council of Research Council of Academic things, I don't know how it's named anymore, but at least at that time they proclaimed officially that NLP was nonsense in the academic world, and they had some proof, or there was lacking proof, and this is hampering the development of the connection between NLP and the academic world ever since. Because when students are interested in NLP and they want to do something in their studies, the first thing that they will look up is literature, the oldest literature. Oh, and there comes these that parts, and they deal with these phenomena of eye movements and predicates. So this was disproved as a fact. So I think this is still what's standing in the way, beside many other things.